All right, well, we can get started. Anyways, thanks so much, Nikki Dean, for joining us once again on Wednesday mornings. Every Wednesday morning is Mindset Matters, talk with Nikki Dean. Today, Nikki's going to talk about self-care, which is just so incredibly important always, but I think definitely holds a certain importance right now with kind of the situation we're in being quarantined. Um, so really excited for the talk. Anyways, if you're tuning in on Facebook, please feel free to click the link and come join us in the webinar. Sometimes the Facebook feed gets a little distorted and cuts out. So if you're interested in the talk, I really encourage you to just sign up and come in through Zoom. And that way you can ask questions as well. So if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand and we can unmute you to answer your question. Or you can also use the Q&A bubble, which is on the bottom of your screen. If you kind of move your arrow around, the Q&A bubble should pop up and you can ask a question there. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Nikki. Thanks so much again for being here.
Oops, sorry. Can you help? You can hear me okay? Thank you, Carrie. It's such a pleasure to be back with you all again today. And I'm so excited to talk about self-care. This is truly one of my favorite topics. And I always think about when those days where you could just get on an airplane, when you would get on an airplane and before the plane even takes off, you have all of your safety information given to you by the staff there, and they always tell you that should you need an oxygen mask, make sure you put your own oxygen mask on first before helping someone else. And this is such a great analogy to think about just how we show up in our lives every day. If we're always showing up and giving out, taking care of everybody else, whether that's family or work that we have to do, right? What's going to be left for us, right? You're of no use to someone else if you don't take good care of yourself. And health is a very interesting thing. If you think about it, health is the one thing that you cannot buy. You have to do it yourself. You have to participate in it. No one else can just give it to you. And if you try and cheat the system and you try and get other systems or get healthy quick kind of ideas that are out there, you're going to find that in the long run, they're not sustainable and they don't work. So let's get into some self-care that you can do at home. And I know for so many of you, maybe you had a great self-care practice that involved going to the gym, going to your fitness classes, going to yoga classes, running around a track or on a treadmill, lots of that equipment. So we've got to keep this stuff going at home, and it's easier than you might think. So let's start. We're going to talk about self-care when it comes to your mind and your body, and as well as things that you can do in your home. But let's start with the mind, because it all comes down to thoughts. Because if you feel good, you're going to show up and do more good in your day. And most of us have a lot on our minds right now, but really always life has gotten to be pretty busy. So self-care when it comes to the mind and the mental state is just taking a pause and taking note of how you're feeling and making sure that you're on track. And I've talked about this before. You're going to hear this come up over and over again because it always rings true and it's always relevant. But how you start your day is really important. And starting your day with thoughts or even content that is nourishing, that is inspiring, that is uplifting, that is grounding, that is centering. These are all things that are going to then carry through the theme of your day. So we talked a lot of more in depth about this last week as we were applying it to working from home, but it really doesn't matter what it is that you're doing at home. Every day you wake up. That's success right there, right? If you woke up, you're already successful. You're alive, you're here. Now, what are you going to do with it? So, a few things we can do when we wake up. And if you're someone who has trouble getting out of bed, this next one might not be for you. But if you can, when you wake up in the morning, instead of just jumping out of bed, hitting the ground running, starting to do things, grabbing your phone, getting kids ready, getting yourself ready, just pause, wake up, lie in bed, notice what your bed feels like. Right? Notice what your sheets feel like. It's savoring the moment, and it's starting your day with some gratitude. What you're doing is you're looking for things that you can appreciate in that moment. And again, if you're someone who maybe struggles with getting out of bed, you'd fall back asleep instantly, then I would say sit up on the end of your bed. But be in that space before you have taken in anything else, and just look around, or even with your eyes closed, feel around you for things that you can appreciate that are already working for you. And you can take this down a really beautiful stream. For example, if you're thinking about how much you love your bed and how comfortable your bed is, and then you start thinking about the gratitude that you have for having the money to buy that bed, and having the sheets and the comforter to put on that bed. And then thinking about maybe the person who sold you the bed and where that came from, some gratitude for that person. And then following that chain even further, who made the bed? You don't have to know, just take appreciation for the fact that this bed even exists and that it made its way to you. So hopefully, can you feel how that might be different for you? How starting your day with thinking about something that you already have and appreciating it on this level, almost marveling at this manifestation that has made its way to you. Mattresses, they don't come from nature, right? A lot of people had to touch those hands. Touch hands to that mattress to get it to you. So you're being present when you're doing this. You're being present. You're practicing gratitude. We know gratitude is a great way to soothe your mind and practice self-care. We know that gratitude boosts your immune system. It can increase your energy. It definitely increases your positive aspect about whether or not your life is good or your life is in struggle, right? When you're in gratitude, you're noticing what you have. When you're in scarcity, you're thinking about all that you don't have. And this plays in very deeply into self-care, because if you think about the way that we perceive our lives, there are really two ways to look at it. There are the things that we want, and then there's the lack of the things that we want, right? So when you are feeling into the things that you want, you're going to feel hopeful and excited and eager and inspired and full of possibility and faith and maybe even love. But when you're thinking about not having that thing that you want, then you're going to be in this state of scarcity and lack. And then you think more and more and more and more and more and more and more about not having this thing that you really want. And yet it still doesn't come to you. And whether or not it comes to you is actually irrelevant. It's how do you feel in that moment? In that moment, you probably feel pretty low, right? So these first moments of the day, starting them with some gratitude and some appreciation, is already going to get you in that energy of noticing how much you have, which will make you more hopeful and more inspired to move forward to get the things that you don't have yet, right? So other ways with gratitude, as we're talking about that, with gratitude, you can write down your gratitudes. You can list your gratitudes. You can look in the mirror and say a few things, looking yourself in the eyes, that's saying what you're grateful for, right? And then you're starting to remember that you are an abundant being and that you're capable of so much, right? So this can be, really what we're talking about here is creating some morning rituals. And these rituals are your self-care rituals. And you want to make them non-negotiable. So I love to talk about meditation If you were friends on Facebook or on Instagram, you might have seen my post this morning that today was my 444th consecutive day of meditation. Now, a lot of people get tripped up about meditation, but it is truly one of the best self-care practices that you can commit yourself to. And the reason is that when you meditate, you're actually changing the matter of your brain so that the centers for relaxation and the ways that you cope with stress, those portions of your brain grow more dominant. And then the areas of where you hold stress, those kind of fade more into the background. And one of the benefits that I have experienced, and many of my clients have shared with me as well, is that the longer that you meditate, and I don't mean the more minutes you meditate in a day, I would say the longer period of time that you meditate over, the less life bothers you, the less those bumps in the road seem to throw you off course. You become more resilient. You feel more in the flow, less controlling. Control is an interesting one to think about, especially as you think about your self-care. You want to approach it from this place of something that you want, right? Not the lack of what you want. And often when we try to control other people, other situations, other things that are happening in our lives, we realize we have no control. Maybe it's your kids, right? We realize we really cannot control another human being or a particular outcome. We can only control how we feel and how we respond to those outcomes and to those situations. And so the longer you meditate, you have more of a detachment to the moment to moment outcomes because you're focused more on the moment to moment feelings. And hopefully this is making sense. So with meditation, there's so many different ways that you can meditate. You don't have to sit cross-legged on the floor with your fingers touching in, this kind of yogi position that we see and chant Om, right? That is one form of meditation, but meditation can be anything where you're sitting quietly. You might also, if the word meditation triggers you and you worry, a lot of people say, well, I could never sit and think about nothing. Well, no, you cannot ever sit and think about nothing. Your brain wasn't designed that way. Your brain is a problem solver. Your brain is always listening to the thoughts that you're having and saying, okay, how do I solve that problem? So again, this is why it's really important to be focusing on what you want and not on the lack of having what you want, right? So when you meditate, it's just about that being quiet and listening, becoming the watcher, becoming the observer. So some days you might have the most agitated mind during a meditation, but find the deepest sense of calm after the meditation. So we don't have to worry about what's happening during meditation. So let me share with you just a couple of different ways that you can meditate. And you might have heard this from me before, but my question is, are you doing it, right? And if not, why not start today? And so the easiest way I think to meditate is just to watch the breath. Because if you woke up today, you're alive. If you're alive, you're breathing. So if you start to watch the breath as it goes in, as it goes out, and you're watching the breath as it goes in, as it goes out, right? All of a sudden, you realize you're not watching the breath. You're having a conversation. Maybe you're telling a story. Maybe you're arguing. Maybe you're worrying, right? Maybe you're just contemplating. It's okay. You just notice that you're no longer watching your breath, and then you come back to watching the breath. It's as simple as that. And it doesn't matter how many times the mind wanders. It only matters that you're committed to noticing the wandering mind and to come back to it. Now, if you get really tripped up on those thoughts and they're kind of dragging you down and you can't seem to get out of them, one way out is to notice the feeling behind the thought, right? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling worried? Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling frustrated? Are you feeling jealous? Now, we don't want to spend a lot of time here. We don't want to get into that space of psychoanalyzing what's going on in the meditation. We simply want to be aware. And then you might think of it like a bubble wand, right? You imagine you have a bubble wand and you've blown bubbles, and each one of those feelings or those thoughts exists in a bubble. And every time you notice it and you identify it, it's like, boop, you pop that bubble. And then you come back to breathing. Now, if your mind is really busy and the breathing in and out isn't holding your attention enough, you can add words to that, like breathing in, breathing out, right? So this is what we call mantra, or a mantra is just a phrase or a word or a phrase that you repeat over and over again. And what it's doing is it's giving your mind something to think about. It's giving your mind something to say, so that you don't have to worry about those thoughts that are coming in. You're overriding those thoughts by giving a single point of focus on one specific thought. So it could be something like breathing in or breathing out, but I love to introduce mantra into my meditation. And meditation mantras, you get to make them up, and you also get to notice whether or not they're working for you. So they usually start with an I am. You want to put something in the present tense as if it's already happening, because if you follow the law of attraction, once you have the thought, it is sent out into the universe or to your source, right? And your source hears you and then immediately sends that thing back, because like attracts like. What happens though sometimes is we have difficulty receiving that because we're not at the right energetic vibration to match that thing that we've asked for. We have a lot of blockages up, a lot of resistance to it. And this could be a whole nother talk on itself and the law of attraction. But for today's purposes, just know that you want to create an affirmation that is calling in what you want. And that might be, I am at peace. I am calm. I am happy. I am aligned with my higher self. I am aligned with my soul's purpose, my life purpose, right? You kind of get the idea here. And don't worry if at first when you say these things, they feel, and you're just saying them silently to yourself. Don't worry if at first they feel forced or they don't resonate with you. It feels kind of fake or phony. It's okay. It's a practice. Just keep showing up, keep saying it, and then notice what happens throughout your day. So that's, and similar to meditation, I'll just stick with those two, and you can reach out to me individually if you want more help with meditation. We've got lots of those online as well. But similar to meditation is prayer. Wayne Dyer said it beautifully. He said, prayer is when you're talking to God, and meditation is when God is talking to you. So meditation is a little bit more of this listening space, even though I did say you can be speaking, right? But it is more of this quiet listening space, whereas prayer is more this outward space. But really, what does prayer mean to you? And does it resonate with you? And you get to choose who you pray to and what you pray for, right? But prayer is a really great way to realign yourself for spiritual level with something greater than the circumstances that are right in front of you. And right now, I think all of us can use that a little bit more than even normally. So we've got prayer, meditation, gratitude. We've talked about a little bit. These are all things that take care of your mind. With your gratitude, as I said, you can list it, you can speak it, you can write it in a journal. There is research, clinical evidence to show that writing down your gratitude actually makes it more impactful on a physiological level than just speaking your gratitude. But I highly encourage you to take in the research if that's what moves you. Take in all of this content, all of this information, and then see how it resonates for you. You get to decide how things resonate for you and what works for you and what doesn't. So another way that I like to add self-care, and you can do this in the morning or it's great in the night as well, is visualization. And I quite like visualization to follow my meditation in the morning, but it can be separate. It can be done in a minute. It can be done, all of these things, a minute or 15 minutes or longer. And with visualization, it's kind of like when you were a kid and you played make-believe. And I know my best friend and I don't know where we got this from, but we used to pretend we were real estate agents, and we would take her brother's blocks and we would set up these offices and we would walk around showing houses and selling houses, right? Do you remember being a child and being in that kind of child's play where your imagination just took you somewhere else? Well, you get to do this as an adult, and it can be really powerful, and it can be a great way to move you closer to your goals. And what you do with visualization is very simple. You can close your eyes and think about what you want in as much detail as you possibly can. And this can be as simple as a morning practice. And especially, say, for example, you've woken up really anxious. Maybe you watched too much news last night before bed. You had a restless kind of sleep. You didn't feel like you slept well. You woke up, you're feeling kind of antsy and agitated. Your first thought might be, oh my God, how am I going to make it through this day? Okay. So right there, you start to notice your thoughts, and you say, okay, I'm going to change that. My day hasn't even started yet. I have the power to change it. And you might visualize the end of the day. You might visualize yourself moving through the day, smiling at, if you share a house with someone, smiling at your family or your roommates, right? Smiling at everyone that you see, smiling as you talk on the phone, smiling as you do your work, smiling as you eat, and feeling this sense of joy and peace and calm and excitement, right, about your day. And maybe you even take it all the way to the end of the day, and you visualize yourself getting into bed that night feeling good, feeling complete, feeling satisfied, feeling like you had this amazing day. So that's how simple visualization can be. And if you want to apply that to a goal that you have, you might make this part of a daily self-care routine, right? Because often what happens is we have a goal and we start working towards our goal, and we're all excited and really excited to get there. And then maybe things don't line up immediately the way that you want them, and we start to have doubts, and then we start to take steps backwards and steps forward, and 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 step back. Oh, we went sideways, we turned left, we turned right, we got off the track of that goal, right? This is where visualization can really help you, if as a daily practice, first thing in the morning, start to visualize, what is that goal? What does it look like to achieve that goal? And what does it feel like to achieve that goal? When you add feeling tones to anything that you're doing, it powers it up exponentially. Because say, for example, your goal is to get a promotion at work. Why do you want that promotion? What is that promotion going to do for you? Well, that promotion is going to give you more money. Well, why do you want more money? What is that money going to do for you? Maybe that money is going to allow you to take a vacation. Why do you want that vacation? What is that vacation going to give to you? Oh, the sense of freedom and relaxation and joy and fun. That's what we're going for. That promotion so that your life can be more joyful, more free. You can have more fun on a daily basis, not waiting for your vacation for that to be your life, right? So when you visualize and you put yourself in this space, right, you come out of it. I already mentioned your brain is a problem solver. Now, all day long, your brain is making decisions based on your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is responsible for about 95% of your decisions that you make, and your conscious mind is responsible for about 5% of those decisions. So you visualized, you saw it, now your brain is ready to figure out how to make it happen. It's going to make you choose different things throughout your day. So one more I want to tuck in here about the mind is journaling. Journaling is a great way to practice self-care, and no one else has to ever read it. It's just for you. You can make it any which way you want, but you might journal anything with how you're feeling, how you want to feel, writing it down. When you write things down, you tend to bypass the part of your brain that's in judgment. And so it's a great way to get things out without second guessing yourself or starting to talk yourself out of things. All right, so that's our minds. Starting with your mind, getting your mind all set up and ready to go, okay? Daily self-care, non-negotiable. Next is your body. These bodies are miraculous. We have trillions and trillions and trillions of cells, And what the trillions of cells are doing constantly is seeking a state of balance. You don't have to participate in that. You don't have to do anything in order for your liver to work. You don't have to do anything to make your digestion happen. Although, if you eat foods that don't agree with your body, your digestive system will definitely let you know, right? So just take a moment to really soak in how miraculous and wonderful this body is. And if you were gifted with this miraculous and wonderful body, why wouldn't you want to take care of it, right? Sorry, I'm good. The sun is starting to come in on my windows here, so I'm going to shift positions. Okay, so simple ways. So you're at home. I know you don't have the gym. You can't do it. You can't go skiing. You can't go to the pool. There's stuff you can't do. But what can you do? So make a list of what you feel good, what kinds of activities your body likes to do that makes you feel really good, right? And for some people that might be stretching, jumping jacks, push-ups, strengthening activities might make you feel good. Cardio might make you feel good. Some people love running. Some people never want to run if they're not being chased by a bear, right? But what makes you feel good? Walking. Now, almost all of us we should all be able to walk. And maybe you can't go to your favorite trail, but you can walk around the perimeter of your house. You can walk around your block. You can find a place where you can walk. And your body wants to move. The human body, humans, we're nomads. When we started out on this earth, we roamed the earth. That's what we did. We walked from place to place, and then we settled and we walked and we settled and we walked and we settled. So walking takes you back to your ancestors and connects you with all the humans that have ever been on this planet. And stretching is a really beautiful way. I mentioned, you can do this if you're not sure how to stretch, or if you really prefer fitness classes, for example. You can easily go online, and there are free exercise things on YouTube. There are a lot of both free and paid apps that you can get and services that you can get that can keep you moving. So what you want to do is make a commitment to yourself for your own self-care. How much do you want to move every day? And the caution here, and really go for it, and then commit yourself. And the caution here is that because we're all sheltering in place and we're all on lockdown, we aren't having those transitions where we go from one place to the other. Even if you're someone like myself who mostly worked from home before, I still had other appointments in my week and certain professional obligations that were outside of my home. I had to walk to my car. I had to walk to different buildings. Even those walking back and forth, those little bits of movement throughout your day are still really important. So as you think about your self-care, I would recommend that you put a timer. If you sit at a computer all day, put a timer on your computer or on your phone to ding about every 45 minutes maximum, and stand up, walk around your house, stretch, move your body, do something. And as you do it, really make that connection, that acknowledgement that, okay, it's my time. It is a moment for me to take care of myself. Okay, so you've got to move your body every day. One other way that I want to throw in here that I didn't mention yet is essential oils are a great way to incorporate into your self-care, because we have essential oils. The way they work, if you have a pure essential oil, is that they actually change your hormonal response as you breathe them in. So this is what we call aromatherapy. And some people think, oh, really, these are plants. What does it really do? But if you think about it, so your olfactory nerve is right here under the bridge of your nose. And the olfactory nerve sends messages to the limbic system in your brain. And we often call the limbic system like the feeling system of the body. It's what sends those messages like, I'm happy, I'm sad, I feel good, I don't feel good, I'm afraid, right? So you can think about it, if you go to the dentist and they want to do some work on you, right? They put a mask on your face, and within 30 seconds of breathing in these synthetic compounds, you have a sense of relaxation that comes all through your body, and even maybe a sense of euphoria, which allows that dentist to do things that you would not allow them to do in that kind of state without that compound. So essential oils work the same way, only they're natural compounds. So they just come from plants, and they can shift your perception of a situation within 30 seconds. 30 seconds of going from worry to hope, right? From anger to compassion, right? There's lots of different ways, and just putting a drop in your hand. I have a little diffuser, I plug it into my computer, and it just keeps those going all the time. So they can help you with focus, and again with that motivation. If you're not motivated to exercise, you might use oils to help you get moving. And then you can use oils to soothe your muscles afterwards as well. But again, this is another topic that could be its own class. So we've got the body, we've got the mind. Now let's talk about other fun, a little more fun self-care things that you can do, just because you are spending more time at home right now. So something like opening up your closet and going through your closet and looking at each article of clothing and asking, how does it make you feel? Does it make you feel good to wear this item of clothing? Is it comfortable? Is it, or is it a article of clothing that is taunting you, that you're waiting to fit back into this article of clothing, or that you just wear because it's there, right? What if everything that you put on, you felt like a 10 in? Now, this doesn't mean you have to have a whole bunch of fancy clothes, but it's clothes that make you feel good, that are comfortable to you, right? If you are wearing clothes that are pushing on weird places in your body because they don't fit quite right, do you really need that? No. It's, you're causing your own discomfort. We're talking about self-care. So we want things that make you feel good. So go through your closet, pull out everything that doesn't feel like a 10 to you. Now, you, of course, keep your cozy sweatpants and your big juicy hoodies that you just feel super comfortable and cozy in. Absolutely. Those are good feelings, right? Get rid of everything that doesn't feel good. You can, with also, you can look at your other closets. And the art of feng shui is a beautiful thing where they talk about the flow of energy through a space. And I'm not an expert in feng shui, so I won't go deeper than that. But what I do know is that if there's a lot of clutter in your house, then it's very hard to be in the flow of life. So look for where there's clutter and look for what you can get rid of, and notice that that's going to help you feel a little bit more free in your body, in your life, in your home, right? If every time you walk into a certain room, you instantly get this pit in your stomach of, ugh, all of this stuff, it needs to be cleaned up. Well, stop saying that, first of all, because either clean it up or don't clean it up, but don't feel bad. One of your self-care activities for the week, and put it in your calendar. And maybe you have an hour to do it, or maybe I like to do what I call the 15-minute go. So you give yourself 15 minutes. You can put on the timer on the stove or on your phone and just say, for 15 minutes, I'm just going to clean out this one junk drawer. Or for 15 minutes, I'm just going to get started on all that junk in the junk room, right? And then once that timer goes off, you have the choice. You either continue or you say, that's enough, I'm good, I'll do another 15 minutes next time. But it's amazing how much better you will feel when you consciously create with the intention of, this is self-care. This is me making me important, making my space and my environment important. The other thing, since you're home a lot, that really will make a huge impact on your own self-care is cooking, right? You can cook for the day, you can cook for the week, right? Depending on your time, your capacity, your family, what's going on in your home situation. But preparing healthy meals for yourself is a beautiful act of self-care. And then also making the time to sit down and eat your food in a quiet, slow manner where you're savoring, you're actually tasting every bite of food, and you're chewing every bite of food, breaking it up, making it easier for your stomach to digest it once it comes down. The cool thing is the more you chew your food, your brain talks to your gut and tells it what digestive enzymes you need, and you can be producing more digestive enzymes for that specific food the more you chew. So these are all ways that we can take care of ourselves. And getting your family involved in cooking makes it an even more beautiful activity that can bond and give you something else to do. And just be aware, anytime you're saying, if as I've been talking about these things, if you are having a conversation in your head saying, well, I don't have time for this, and I don't have time for that, and I don't have time for that, why don't you try changing those words around and saying, I don't prioritize that? Because that is what you're saying. When you're saying I don't have time, you're saying that's not a priority for me. And how does it feel to say, I don't have time for self-care? How does it feel to say, I don't prioritize my self-care? Right? Now, if you're a parent, you can use your children as a great reflection of this, because what if one of your children came to you and said, I don't have time to take care of myself. It's not a priority for me to take care of my mental health, my physical health, my spiritual health. Right? Would that break your heart in a million pieces? I know it would for me. So really get clear with yourself. And then I want to add on this note, and I've talked about this before, but we can't say it enough. Setting your intention for the day is another way that you can practice self-care. And you can set your intention by picking 1 to 3 words for how you want to feel, right? And you can, those how you want to feel or how you want your day to go, how you want to show up, right? Those can be words like, I want to feel confident and free, alive, engaging, productive, compassionate, patient, right? There's no end to these words. Motivated, energized, right? What do you need? Pausing and asking yourself at the beginning of the day or at any moment throughout your day, what do I need right now? This is going to help you. Then again, that brain in that problem solving mode, your brain is then going to solve that problem and put you in that state. And you cannot worry if it doesn't happen instantly. Give yourself some time. Give yourself the time you need to really move into those words until you feel them on a cellular level. And that brings me to my very last self-care tip that I want to share with you is make yourself a happy list. Okay. And on that, now you can call it a happy list, you can call it a joy list, you can call it a fun list, right? Make yourself a list of things that make you happy, of things that feel good when you do them. And you want to make them things that you can do right now. So I want to challenge you, if you're listening to this call, challenge you right now to make a list of 10 things that make you happy, that bring you joy. And they have to be 10 things that are possible to do right now. Okay. And then from that list, and they can be things that are free, they can be things that cost money. Once you make the list, review it, because it, say for example, this just popped into my head, so it's obviously someone thought of it, is I love shopping for new clothes on Amazon, or shopping for new clothes on any website, right? Maybe not Amazon. And you also have this feeling of, I need to stop spending money right now. I don't want to spend money. Then ask yourself, is it really going to make you happy to buy a new top right now, or a new pair of shoes right now? Right? What is that really going to bring you happiness? And if the answer is yes, then absolutely. And it's in your budget, absolutely, go for it. But these things can be free also. A few weeks ago when this all started, I watched a little bit too much news, and for your self-care, news and self-care don't go very well together unless you're watching the, oh gosh, what is it? The SGN news that has come up. Some good news that is something going around social media right now and YouTube with one of the celebrities is doing that. It's really fun. But in general, news is going to bring you down because they're looking for the worst stories to tell you and then repeating them over and over and over again. And so you want to limit your news. And sorry, I kind of got a little lost there as I started thinking about all that news stuff. On your news list, keep your news list, keep your news really limited, and instead look for inspiring content, right? So look for things that make you feel good, like a podcast, audiobook, or you can watch, you can read things that are inspiring and uplifting and engaging, right? Maybe now is not the best time to be reading heavy literature or heavy stories, right? And this is where everybody gets to decide, how does it feel for you? How does it feel for you when you're reading what you're reading or watching what you're watching, right? So I put on my social media recently, which you also want to limit. I put, okay, tell me your best joke. I want to laugh. That was one of my posts, and it was so fun to go back and see what jokes people were putting in there, or put a post out there and ask, what's the funniest movie or TV show that you've seen? What podcasts are making you feel good every day? And listen to, read, and watch more of that stuff, right? So that could be something that's on your happy list. And then once you have this list and you're sure that all the things on it are things that are making you feel good and happy, then you choose. My suggestion would be once a day, you have at least one activity once a day or more that makes you happy, and put that in your calendar. How good would it feel for you to open your calendar and see meeting, fun? Oh, yes, I got that fun thing. And then move my body, cook, right? Put all these things in your calendar so that they happen, right? So that your day doesn't get hijacked by just fielding everything that comes towards you and just completely work. You've got to shut down. You've got a home office now. You've got to have office hours. You've got to have a time of day where it starts, where it stops. And the more scheduled you are, the more free. Time blocking is actually time freedom. It's going to keep you on track to keep doing all of these good things. So you have so many options, see what you can do to make yourself laugh every single day, or get someone else in on this with you, and maybe just make it a challenge of who can be funnier every day, right? So you've now got a ton of practices that you can choose from for your mind, for your body, for your home, right? I didn't even get into, if you're creative, right? You can be doing creative outlets like art, vision boards, painting, drawing, right? There's really no end to this. These are just a few suggestions. And I want to close up now. Oh, but before I do, these are lots of suggestions. And all these ideas, any single one of them could change your life. Any one of them that you apply today can change your life. But just listening to these ideas and feeling inspired in this moment change your life. So you have to remember, no one can buy your health. Only you can do that. No one will ever create time for you. Only you can do that, right? If you find yourself saying, I'm always looking and waiting for the time to take care of myself, know that you will never find the time to take care of yourself. You have to create the time to take care of yourself. So will you do it? I know you can, but will you? And I hope that with all your heart right now, you're saying yes, because this is the thought I want to leave you with. What if we came here not to grow? What if the purpose of this life is not growth and experience, right? What if growth was a given, right? The natural state of the universe is expansion. One of the things we know from scientific study is that the universe is always expanding, and we are universal beings. We are part of this universe. So growth and expansion, those were givens when we were born, right? So what if the purpose of this life is truly to enjoy it, is to have fun, is to experience all of these things, to experience what you like and what you don't like, not so that you can have negative experiences, but so that those negative experiences can push you closer to choosing more and more and more of the ones that you do like, right? What if every day you woke up and you said, my goal today is to feel as good as I can possibly feel. My goal today is to create positive thoughts and to notice when my thoughts are not positive and to choose again. What if I made the happiness and the joy of my life my number one priority? What would happen then? So that's all I have for you. I would love to open it up for any questions, any comments, any shares. I cannot see what's happening on Facebook. So Carrie, if there are questions coming in on Facebook, could you please read some of those to me?
Yes, I definitely can. Excuse me, it looks like I lost my voice a little.
Oh.
Yeah, so again, I mentioned it in the beginning, but if you missed it, a couple ways that you can ask questions are you can raise your hand and we can unmute you. And it doesn't really even have to be a discussion. It can be, if you have a tip that you do for self-care or something that really works for you. I know that I'm interested in hearing it, and I'm sure everyone else who's attending is also interested. The other way you can do it is you can ask a question in the Q&A box down below. So I can wait a little bit for questions to come in. I had some personally, so I can ask.
Oh, I'd love to hear yours, Carrie. Why don't we start with one of yours? Why don't you lead us off?
Yeah, so it's kind of a little question mixed with something that I kind of got thinking about today. So I heard this quote yesterday, and it kind of kept resonating with me throughout the session. And the quote is, quote, "People always want to change the situation they are in, not realizing they were put in this situation so that they can change." So I think, this is such an amazing opportunity that we can be practicing self-care and kind of creating these habits, because all of a sudden we don't have that excuse of not having time anymore. So very relevant from that quote yesterday to this talk today. So thank you for that. But I guess I got into meditation, I don't know, maybe late last year. And I know that when I was first starting, and still sometimes when I feel like I just can't quite do it on my own, I turn to guided meditation. Do you have any resources for good guided meditations or things like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so for guided meditation, the meditation app that I use is called Insight Timer, and it's free. And I mostly use there's a timer, and you can set how many minutes you want to meditate for. The nice thing about having a timer is that it allows you to let go. You don't have to worry a bell is going to go off when the time is up. But on Insight Timer, they also have lots of free guided meditations, and you can choose them by time. You can choose by topic. So there are things like anxiety and sleep, and then there's 5-minute meditations, 6-minute meditations, 10-minute, 20-minute. So there's something for everyone. And I love that you brought that up, Carrie, because I've been meditating for 444 straight days, but really on and off for 15 years. It took me 15 years to get to that point where it became a consistent practice for me. And it was simply through commitment of saying, I've decided that I'm going to make meditation as non-negotiable as brushing my teeth. I would never leave my house without brushing my teeth, so I won't leave my house without meditating. And so I mostly do just the kind of meditations I was talking about, but with COVID-19 and the level of fear that is around not just, just all over the entire world, it can be overwhelming. It can be harder for me personally to keep that at bay. So I've been listening to more and more guided meditations. And I've listened to a couple of them on the Insight Timer. And I would also just say, YouTube is a great free resource. Headspace is another one that a lot of people are always talking about. Headspace has a lot of great options as well. And, there are just so many. I offer private coaching, both meditation guidance, mindset coaching, stress reduction, reaching goals, all of that. And that W for health and wellness, hw@ivgid.com. You can get in touch with me about setting up a private session. And what I do in my private coaching is that I often will, as we talk through what's coming up with a person, is I will create a personalized guided meditation and visualization that speaks to that particular issue that someone is working with. So great question. I see that we also have Sheila now has her hand up. So Sheila, do you want to go ahead and ask your question? Oh, I said the website wrong again. It's sorry, is it
hw@ivgid.org.
ivgid.org.
I know, it gets you every time. It's all good.
I apologize. Yeah, I apologize for that. hw@ivgid.org. And if you're an ivgid employee, you get 2 free sessions with me every calendar year.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I've had a few sessions with Nikki, and it's pretty incredible just to sit with her one-on-one, because then you can really focus on some of your goals and what you want to accomplish versus kind of these broader, which are also great, but would definitely encourage you, if you're looking to kind of progress in this mindset, to reach out to Nikki. And I'll put it in the chat if I can. It's hw@ivgid.org. Does anybody else have any questions? I'm not seeing any on Facebook. I think that might be it. I have one more, since we have a little bit of time.
Yeah, go for it.
I know, you covered a lot of different aspects of self-care. What do you think is the hardest, area to focus on for you?
Oh, for me personally, I like to joke that I'm a recovering workaholic. Even for many years, I was primarily a yoga teacher. And I would kind of joke, that's how it would go. I work so much. And it's funny until it's not funny. So the hardest part for me is to stop working. It's kind of a funny one, because I love what I do so much. And I get so focused. And then I can realize that hours are going by and I'm not taking breaks in my day. And that's such an important part of self-care, because while my energy is staying high all day, what happens is at the end of the day, I experience this big, not so much a physical crash, but almost a mental, emotional crash of just feeling not enough. Feeling like I've done so much, but I've barely scratched the surface. Therefore, I must not be enough. And that is a terrible place to be. And that's one of the reasons why I recommend setting that timer and putting things in your calendar. And if you say you're going to take a break, take a break. So that's probably my biggest hurdle. And I'm human as all of you. And so much of the reason why I teach these things is because I do them. I have to do them, and I have to keep doing them, and I have to come back to them. And you can experience waves. Be aware that, okay, this is something that is helping me so much. If you can really take in the concept that the reason we have so much contrast, right? Feeling good, not feeling good. me being completely different than you. I have curly hair, you have straight hair, right? You have this, I have that. It can look at it, right? It can be comparison, or it can be contrast. And if you can truly take into your heart that this contrast is here to guide you, it's your inner guidance system. Your feelings are your body's guidance system, your mental, emotional body guidance system to tell you when you're on track or when you're off track. Right? If you feel good as you're doing something and you feel good afterwards, then you're on track. If you do something and you tell yourself that it's good, but you feel bad, you feel anxious, you feel overwhelmed, you feel worried, you feel fearful, then your inner guidance system is telling you what you're doing is not choosing into your wants, into your likes, into your preferences. You're choosing away from the things that you're choosing more into the things you don't want and trying to get away from them. So, just ride the waves, stay positive, acknowledge your human emotions. But when you feel bad, say to yourself, oh, what a gift. This is here to put me back on track, instead of this is here to tell me how awful I am or how awful life is. All right.
Well, I just put the link that all of Nikki's lectures, so if you noticed, this session was being recorded. So we've been uploading all of the sessions onto this link here. So if you missed any, she's given two other ones, one on tips from working from home and one for kind of dealing with stress. So make sure if you missed those to, go back and watch them. They're available for you. And if you want to share this session with anybody who maybe wasn't able to tune in, just, direct them to this link and they'll be able to view the session there. And again, if you have any questions or want to do a personal session, you can just email hw@ivgid.org. I put that in as well. So thank you again, Nikki. What an amazing session. Yeah. I always feel so good on Wednesday mornings. So thank you so much.
All right. So Tad, you're it. Carrie, now keep it going.
Yes, definitely. And thank you everyone who attended.
Thank you.
Bye.